Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube. Here to help you break through those fears. Live an awesome life. That's the only thing in between you and that amazing life you want to live that you're sitting here thinking, if I could just get that, or if I could just do that, or stop the bad thinking in my head. And then I'm going to supply the tools on this channel. I actually give you tools to manifest anything. But here's the key, and we're going to talk about that today. You must take the action and use them. If I give you a beautiful tool chest with amazing gold-plated tools and it just sits there, you say, I have these, this is amazing, I'm happy. Oh, you get all excited and you never do anything with it. We're going to talk today about how you can change absolutely anything by going into it. Ew, this doesn't sound like a good idea. Trust me, you know me, I give you very simple methods that are usually, most of the time, contrary to what you hear out there. It doesn't make me right or anybody else wrong. There are just different ways for people to, let's just say, approach things in their life with different energies that might help you if something you're doing right now isn't working. And if you know me on my channel, even though I use the word law of attraction in my titles a lot, it's to lure you in so you can listen and decide for yourself if this is for you or not, and if law of attraction really does work. So why do I say I lure you in? I want to talk about law of attraction and how we think of it. This whole video is going to be how you think of things, and how if you go into something, you can turn it completely around. And what do we do when something's happening we don't like? We avoid it. We don't like it, we battle it, all right? Law of attraction, well, even the words is, there's a law out there that, by the way, this is just a term that was coined. There's no real law out there. And the law is, and I know I'll probably get people that disagree, and that's fine. You know, I'm not here to be some expert on everything. I'm here to show you ways that do work for me and thousands of other people who give me 5-star reviews on my e-course because it's working. The law of attraction was termed a long time ago when people realized, way before quantum mechanics, that there was a direct relationship between how I think and feel and what's happening out there. What is that? I must be attracting things to me that I desire, or I'm attracting things. You know how you think about something that's not good and all of a sudden it does happen? You think, I attracted that. And we have all other kind of stories in our head that we, were punished or whatever. That's not what we're going to talk about today. The law of attraction. So I'm going to attract it. Well, I believe, and I base all of my teachings on quantum mechanics, of which I'm not an expert, but I do know one thing. We affect matter. Our actual observation affects matter and turns a wave into a particle. A wave is a probability of which there are endless probabilities. We talked about dimensions before. Endless dimensions. There's no limit to the one. How can there be? Limits are only existing if you choose it. You get to, through everything that you do, to choose whether you're limited, whether that thing that you don't like continues to happen, whether you keep down the path of being broke all the time. So if you believe that that thing out there that you desire is something separate from you that you must attract, then in your head, it's not really yours, or you don't possess it, or it's not really a probability. It's just a thing out there, and between you and it, something happens and decides whether or not you're going to do. Did I do the right mantra? Did I do it enough? Did I think or believe, or, and then you're believing that this thing has to be attracted to you. And what I want to teach you today, and we're going to go into it, is that probability is yours, is you, is not separate. You are the probability. You are the universe. The very thing that you see is you. Now, some people can't wrap their heads around it. We don't have to. So I'm going to go into what is it you want to change. All right? What is it you want to change? The probability out there, in here, it's you. You are the universe. Your probability exists right now. It is not something that has to be drawn in or is delayed. So let's get that straight. That probably exists right now. When there is a time delay in how things come to you is because the material world is dense and things must align. If the love of your life lives in Germany, and you have this, envision of this, person that's amazing, whatever, and that person who's in alignment with the same frequency as you, not attracting him, you will be in that same frequency together, and that person will decide that he or she needs to move to your country, and then you have to go to that grocery store at that time to run into them. Everything aligns in our illusory time constraints to allow it to happen. All right? That's the beauty of being human. That things don't just pop in, because every time you said, I wish you were dead, people would drop down. We don't have that kind of power, right? You cannot infringe on somebody's free will, so remember that. Why do I want you to go into the very thing that you do not desire? So let's take an example. Take something that is really an issue with you right now. A lot of you struggle financially. A lot of you just don't have life purpose. You don't feel that you do. Everybody, of course, has purpose. You're here. That's your purpose. And so let's say a relationship. You desire something. When you think of that thing, most people and all people who are not bringing that into their lives, switching into that reality, are thinking and feeling and believing in a frequency that's down here when the thing that they desire is on this frequency or that frequency. Hopefully it's not. It's on a higher frequency. Your worry, your disbelief, your continued behavior, which doesn't change, you're not changing the behavior, is here. This person's here, and what you desire is here. When you think of it, you don't want certain things, so what you do is you try to get rid of it. You're trying to pull back. You don't want to be in that, so you don't want to think about it. You don't want to happen. I want to focus on the good stuff. The stuff is, the good person or the good job or the money. I want to focus on that, but you're not really doing that at all. Right back here, you're not believing and thinking. You have worry and doubt, and you're not changing anything. You can say all these mantras all you want. Maybe get a few results. We have that moment where you actually believe it. And people don't understand why it's not coming into their life. When you go straight into something, you are now solving the problem. You're not afraid of it anymore. That fear dissolves. It is no longer something that you manifest a negative feeling to. The fact that you don't like it and you shrink back not only focuses on the very thing that you claim you want, but it focuses negativity on it. So you're thinking, well, if I go into it, that's going to make it worse. No, you're shrinking back from it. You're afraid of it. You don't want it. You're fighting it. Absolutely everything that's coming to you has an amazing, fabulous absolutely everything that comes to you has an amazing, fabulous, positive purpose. It is there for a reason. It's showing you what you're thinking and believing. It's showing you that there are things you still have to learn. It's showing you that behaviors have to change. When you go into it and you look straight at it, you can solve the issues. Now I have a video that says, how do you get out of things? Instead of shrinking back, how do I solve this? What do I learn from it? What behaviors do I have right now that have not been changing, and I'm still acting like this lower frequency person, expecting to track this down? You can't attract that down there. You're not on the frequency. It's like dialing into a station, a radio station, and listening to it, and then there's a rock station out there somewhere, but you never turn the dial and you say, I'm going to attract it to my radio and it's going to come on. It won't. How do we do this? How do we go into it? Well, I can't find it on the dial. I'm going to drive over to this station and I'm going to go straight into that office and listen to those DJs doing it. I know it's there. I must find it. So what does that mean? You have to get in your car and do something very different and go seek it. All right? So that thing that you desire, I have people that say, help me manifest this or that, Landria. And I'm thinking, well, why would I do that? Second of all, that's very egotistical, right? You're thinking of yourself. And that whole statement tells me you don't believe you can do it. Help me manifest. That's the ego wanting. What must I do to go straight into it, to dissolve this fear? Okay, I'm broke. How do I get money tomorrow, Landria? I don't know. How are you going to get money tomorrow? It's not doing what you've been doing. Right? Spiritual butt kick today. Sorry, guys. I'm hearing a lot of this out there. And it's just sort of, ironic that you're asking the very person that's telling you that you have amazing powers, but the behavior must change and you must go straight into it. I must look at this. What have I been doing? I must completely change all that behavior. It's not that thing. It's not that stuff that I hate, that I'm shrinking. Oh, I don't like it. I want to get away from it. I'm stressing out about it. Say, okay, I'm going to go straight into it. I'm going to look good and hard. Why am I dating jerks? It's not the jerks. My girlfriends used to say that, Landria, you always date these really great guys. I always get the jerks. And I said, no, the jerks want to date me too. I just don't date them, right? And then people marry the jerks. And then they have kids with the jerks. And they go, oh, I can't get away. Behavior change completely must happen here. All right, so I'm going to do it. We're going to keep going on this. I'm going to do a separate video about the whole behavior change. But the first thing is to go straight into it. We're going to deal with this because it's real. In my reality, I've created that. What must I do? If I don't like how things are, then something must change because I am the person completely in charge of my reality. Yeah? I had to go to the coffee shop this morning on the corner of my neighborhood because I just flew in a few hours ago from Italy. I want to tell you something. I walked in that coffee shop. It's a donut shop. There isn't a healthy thing in there. Do you know every single person that walked in there was thin? Every single one. All of them behind the counter, all of these people coming getting coffee and donuts were thin. How's that possible? And then people are starving themselves and then they're not losing weight. I'm going to tell you why. We're going to do one about weight and everything else. I'm going to tell you exactly why that's happening. And I actually experimented while I was in Italy, and it was a successful experiment I'm going to teach you. And I'm going to tell you right now, I went into it. I went into a lot of things. And I learned so much, and I realized if there's anything here that's going to test you, only going into it will you find out about yourself and what you must change, what habits, what thinking, whatever. And to stop that fear, one must go into it and realize it is not a negative thing for you. It is an experience, and it is something that must be resolved in order for you to progress to the next level. We're going to talk about this. I know some of you are going to say, well, how do I go into it? If you are thinking right now about that thing and there are negative feelings, you are now attaching a fear to it that is something you don't want, and you're not handling it. You're not changing anything. You're not going into it. If you look at it and say, okay, it is what it is, you can actually get excited about this. Oh my gosh, I'm going to dissolve this. Oh my gosh, this is the day I dissolve this. And you start to get excited. Some of you have written me and said, I'm starting to actually look at the situation, taking responsibility, and I'm getting excited. And this problem, I'm excited because I know I'm changing it right now by just thinking that, right? Because then when you go into that, your thoughts are changing to something very positive, and you go into a higher frequency. You're getting closer to the thing that is not this thing that you don't desire. Now you're going and shifting into something where there is abundance, where there is that higher paying job and money and all these things. Because you're looking at this and saying, I don't resonate with this anymore, but you're resonating on it if you're afraid of it. You're in the lower frequency, and because you're afraid of it and you're worried about it, you are making the problem worse. I'm focused on not having money. I hate it. I fear it. I'm making it happen. No, I'm not. I'm doing mantras. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because you can sit there and do that all day. And somewhere back here, you're still not believing it. Why aren't you believing that you are amazing power of the universe? It doesn't stop with me. It's going. It's running through you. It's running through everything. This coffee is alive and intelligent. No, it doesn't have kids and decides whether it's going to have a Porsche or a Volkswagen Beetle. Everything functions in its own reality. There's intelligence in here. When I bless this coffee, I just changed the frequency of this coffee, and I'm going to drink it and put it in my body. That's what's going on out there all the time. I hope this is clear. We're going to keep delving into it because I know people shrink back from stuff and they don't think that that's going to work for them. That's okay. You're still going to have the fear when you first go into it, but you're taking charge and solving the problem. There's really no problems, right? Go straight into it. Go straight into it. I'm done with this. So what must I do? I cannot continue to be the same person. This thinking must change. How does that new person change? And this worry about it is just creating the very thing I don't want. So I'm going to go straight into it. We're going to look at it. I'm sitting here whining about being broke, and the truth is, I haven't really looked for that job. I haven't really done anything to change, whether I have skills or not. I have people that they take my internet training. I'm trying to help them get skills without having to spend a ton of money to go back to college or anything like that. Do you know people will quit? And this basic course costs less than books for one semester at a university, by a long shot. People quit. Well, I don't have enough money, and that's why you don't have money. You're not changing your habits. You're not going and getting the skills. You can make it happen. Anything you want, you can make it happen. You have to want it, and you have to do what it takes, and you have to go straight into it. And it's not always going to be pleasant. You're going to have to do some work, right? Put the Cheetos down. If you want to lose weight, you're going to have to change the habits. You have to go straight into it and say, I'm not acting like a thin person. I'm not acting like somebody who's worthy of love. I'm not acting like a person who could make multiple 6 and 7 figures. That's a completely different kind of mentality. And you're still thinking like a broke person and thinking everybody needs to give you stuff for free. When you give and you're not afraid to put out, you will receive that abundance. Go into it. All right, so I know this was a long one, but I really want to start to work more and more on this advanced manifesting. If you go to landriaonkka.com, or you go down here in the description, there is a link to the Landria.com site and Landria's inspiration sign up. Gives you 5 ways to manifest anything. That's the basics of 5 ways to manifest anything will come to you every day, and then every week you'll get some inspiration from me. And you'll get announcements on webinars that I will be doing every month, at least once, possibly twice a month. I'm going to pick different days because I know we have different times here. And I will spend 3 hours with you. 3 hours with you. There is a charge. I usually charge a few hundred an hour. I'm going to charge you $10 an hour. It's be less than $30 to spend 3 hours with me. It will be limited seating. And I'm going to live do an exercise with you. And I'm going to do this on every webinar. We will do a live webinar, live exercise. Now, I did this before and it blew people's minds because they were actually feeling and experiencing stuff right at that moment. Because there's power in numbers too. So when we're all elevated and we're thinking about certain things, we're actually raising everybody else's frequency because they're wanting that. They're desiring it. All right, so you can go down and sign up for Inspiration Sign Up. The other one is Sign Up Start Now 2 is for my internet training. Those are free workshops, and then if you decide to join to the education, then you get charged for the very extensive school that you go to. All right, so there's two. There's two, so be clear about that. A lot of people sign up for the wrong one. All right, I want your spiritual life to be absolutely clear and clean, and you're manifesting, and then I want you to be able to use tools, if you choose, to change anything. Learn how to create an online business. I have 2 separate things. I want to tackle that because a lot of people, we talk about the spiritual stuff and they're like, well, how do I change this other part of my life of making money? Well, we are in a material world right now, seemingly material world. Nothing truly is, right? But it appears that way to us. So we must find the way to change those things, and I give you some tools. It's just one option of many out there. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful. loving, harmonious, and happy. Let's get busy. Namaste.